Hey everyone, today we'll be talking about diabetic nephropathy Q&A. So here we'll be discussing two MCQs, one with clinical vignette that is often asked in INICT, NEET PG, USMLE, those type of questions. And also we'll talk about the non-clinical vignette questions that can also be asked in NEET PG, INICT, FMG. So let's talk about the clinical vignette question containing question first. 49-year-old diabetic patient, progressively rising urine albumin and declining eGFR. Which lab pattern fits diabetic nephropathy and progression? Hematuria with RBC caste predominance. This is characteristic of nephritic syndrome. So nephropathy is typically nephrotic syndrome, commonly presents as nephrotic syndrome rather than nephritic syndrome. Microalbuminuria proceeds overt proteinuria. Yes, this seems to be better and a correct answer because what is microalbuminuria? 30 to 300 milligram per day albumin without before the overt proteinuria, and there is a microalbuminuria 30 to 300 milligram per day, which is detected by chromatography and other methods, and other this is unable to be detected by dipstick method. So this is microalbuminuria. So here microalbuminuria is also calculated as ACR ratio, ACR 30 to 300 milligram per gram of creatinine, 30 to 300 milligram of albumin per gram of creatinine. ACR is also equivalent to the microalbuminuria of 30 to 300 milligram per day of albumin excretion. So here, this is the correct answer, and it represents impending diabetic nephropathy, and it is also indicative of cardiovascular status of the individual, and it also reflects endothelial damage. So high morbidity is associated with microalbuminuria. Serum complement levels. Now, third option, serum complement level. This is usually normal, not altered, because here there is a mesangial expansion. There is a glycosylated protein deposition over the basement membrane. But as such, there is no immune complex activation. So there is no complement activation, or there is no consumption of complement. So there is normal complement. So this is wrong. Sudden onset of nephrotic syndrome after infection. This is talking about PSGN, which is not the case over here. Antistreptolysin O titer is high. This is indicative of again PSGN. Antistreptolysin titer may remain high for a longer period of time. So that is also associated with post-infectious or post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. So the answer we reached is microalbuminuria proceeds over proteinuria. Now, question number two, a very favorite PYQ or important topic, that is classical vascular lesion in diabetes affecting the kidney. So here we need to choose the correct option. Let's start with the first option, hyperplastic arteriosclerosis or onion skin thickening, or associated commonly with the fibrinoid necrosis. Also, this is associated with malignant hypertension, not with the diabetes. Diabetes can lead to benign hypertension that can present with hyaline arteriosclerosis, which is the option B, and it commonly affects afferent and efferent arteriole. So this seems to be the correct answer. It presents with the hyaline deposition, hyaline protein deposits, but not the fibrinoid necrosis, not significant endothelial damage as happens in the malignant hypertension. So the important difference between the benign hypertension and the diabetes affecting the blood vessel, and this is often tested, is that hyaline, in case of benign hypertension, generally afferent arteriole is only involved, whereas in diabetes, both afferent and efferent arteriole are involved. So that is a classical difference between benign hypertension affecting the kidney and diabetes affecting the kidney. Both the cases hyaline arteriosclerosis, but afferent only in benign hypertension, and afferent and efferent both, that is diabetes mellitus. Polyarteritis nodosa is entirely a different thing. Involves the renal artery, can cause aneurysm and vasculitis, so it is ruled out. Fibromuscular dysplasia, middle-aged females, it is commonly seen and it is one of the common cause of renal artery stenosis related to beaded appearance in angiography. So this is not the case in diabetes. Atherombolization with cholesterol cleft, which can happen with sudden rupture of atheromatous plaque or sometimes with some vascular procedures where there is a atherosclerosis that is already present. So that can rupture and can cause atherombolization with cholesterol cleft. So we reached to the answer B. So this is the correct answer. So hope you liked all the explanation and will be there. So almost every day we will be having on a regular basis. We'll take two MCQs and we'll keep on talking about some particular topic. One clinical vignette containing and one non-clinical vignette containing MCQ in each of the video we'll talk about. So stay tuned. See you in the next video. Bye bye for now.